I went to, this is 1992, right? Not 1972. 1992, I went to the Jungle Warfare School in Brunei as the Warrant Officer 1 SMI. It was always then an SAS tied post. It was always an SAS guy. And I wanted to finish my career doing that because I loved the jungle. And lo and behold, the guy before me, who was a super guy, broke his leg. So he asked if I could go over early and run a course before I was actually in situ, and took my family over there. So when I went over there to run this course, it was the long range patrol course. And they're talking about smoke breaks. And I'm like, what? Smoke breaks? So we can have a cigarette. I'm like, you don't smoke in the jungle. You can smell it 200 meters away. You're dead, you know? I know, we've got to have a smoke break. So I binned it. And it's a short break. That's what it's called, a short break. Okay, you get a glug of water, a biscuit, whatever you want, rearrange your kit, and then move off and carry on. And of course, the smokers were screaming, And for the next 2 years, of course, I would allow people to smoke back at base camp because they're smokers. But I was trying to push the agenda that the jungle is not for smokers and the reasons why. It's crazy. It's not for smokers. It's not to take rum in and have a little tipple. None of this goes with the jungle. Like drinking doesn't go with driving, or drinking doesn't go with carrying a gun over here in America. Yeah, smoking doesn't go with the jungle because you use soap that doesn't smell. It's not got a lot, but you can make your own soap. Um, but yeah, no, absolutely. But you mustn't fight the jungle, and you mustn't fight what's in the jungle, and you can help yourself. By dressing correctly. You do up your top button, you do up your sleeve buttons, you put mosquito rep on all the exposed areas of your skin, you wear your jungle hat, and you should be fine. You should be fine. You've got jungle boots on. You see a snake, leave the thing alone. Don't go playing with it. And you've got a spider on top of your bergen or at the inside flap of your bergen. Just lift it out with your jungle hat and put it on the ground and let it wander off. It's funny. Some people were into using mosquito nets. Now, I know through experience, what gets in can't get out. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing I've ever seen in a mosquito net is a monkey, and it almost ripped the guy's face off.
No way.
Yeah, and he went from Brunei to Hong Kong to save his face, and then and to save face, and then to get back to the UK. It was an RAF survival course, and the only thing I had to do with it was I had 2 lessons to give, but I'd stay in the jungle for a bit longer because they were good guys. These are C-130 pilots and crew. They're fighter pilots, navigators, all sorts of people. And you've got the instructors who are from the Air Force that run the course in the jungle. And this guy, I mentioned about mosquito nets, but no, he was adamant he was going to sleep under a mosquito net. And yeah, what's the chances of that happening? But
Well, it's slim to none, but it obviously it did, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So when people ask me, what's the biggest thing you've ever seen in a mosquito net? A monkey. And it was thrashing around trying to get out.
I thought you were going to say something like a giant hornet. I
Yeah,
wasn't
no, yeah,
prepared for Monkey
yeah,
Bob.
yeah,
I'm not going to lie to you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we um, when we were in the jungle for 8 weeks, sometimes it was longer if we were on the advance party of when we were on training on selection, and I'd go with the advance party because I loved the jungle, and it was hard graft. You had to get everything ready for the students coming in and the other instructors, and So we'd build pole beds because we're there for a long time. Now, whether you're in a pole bed or whether you're in a hammock out patrolling, you have to make sure that it's higher than the big male white boar, because that is the most dangerous animal in the jungle. Now, I had a good friend who was an Iban, local from the jungle, and I got to know him as a young lad when I was on selection. His father was the key Iban, and I got to know him all the way through my time in the regiment when we go over to Borneo, and then when I was on training wing, and then back to the squadron again, and then my 2 years in Brunei, he was our local Iban, and he told me that his father was out hunting, and he was killed by the big white boar. That saw him, went all the way around the back, and smacked him from the back, and just the impact killed him outright. You know, so I always took the jungle pig as the most dangerous animal in the jungle because it's killed more people than any other animal. I
Wow.
think second to that is the python, and I think third to that is the estuarine crocodile, and I'll talk about that later as well.
Wow.
but yeah, so we always build our bashers up high enough so that if the pigs come running through at night, because they get scared, they wonder what all the smells are, because you're there all the time, night after night after night at base camp, and they come in, they're inquisitive, and then they might hear a noise, and then they just rush, and they've smashed through bashers and all sorts. And I've got a great story that I blogged about not so long ago. There's a good friend of mine called Vince Thompson, and some people listening to this will have met him. He became the Lofty Wiseman of the SAS when Lofty Wiseman left on the survival side. And he was a great instructor, a great guy, very, very witty, hands like shovels, big, big, big lad, Vince, and very, very funny with it. Anyway, one night we're sleeping in the basher, and this is on the advance party, and all I hear is "Bob" from Vince's basher, which is about 15 yards away. Are you awake? Yeah. Don't move a muscle. Okay, Vince. Bang! The round goes whizzing between me and the top of my basher, straight through and straight into the head of a big white boar that was
Whoa.
sniffing round the camp. It'd been sniffing round for a few nights, and Vince decided it's time that the boar gets it before one of us gets it. But,
They are they these how big are these big what for the purpose of
oh,
again
they're big. I don't know what the poundage is, but they're way they're way bigger than us. And by the time it hit the ground, the E-bands were awake, the two of them. They were across. They'd cut it up, put it on a fire, and roasted it in no time at all through the night. What used to happen was during the time we were in the jungle, the E-bands in the time that they had off, which wasn't a lot, would disappear. We'd know where they were going. They'd disappear away from the students, and they'd take a shotgun, and they would go and hunt. And occasionally, you see them come back with their wickerwork baskets made of rattan, and one basket would contain half a pig, and the other guy's basket would contain the other half of the pig, with the entrails and everything. And when they went off hunting at night, back in the day, this is what they used.